Morning, guys. So I am off to a consultation. Family with 3 dogs. One sounds like it's a miniature poodle and 2 pit bulls of some sort. One is 10 years old, one is 4. They've been living together for 2-3 years, and they recently had a fight. No injuries with the fight, but now they can't really leave them alone together, so they're keeping them separate. They can be together if supervised with no problem. They haven't had any fights since, but so I am going to go see if I can get 2 pit bull brothers to get along again. That's what I'm doing. But in the meantime, I was starting to narrate the macro environment PowerPoint this morning, and I realized, it seems kind of silly. It's like I'm almost reading it off the PowerPoint slides because it's somewhat intuitive what it is by looking at the slides. So I thought I might do this. It might be more efficient. We'll give it a try, and I'll do this for the macro and the micro environment PowerPoints this week, or these next couple weeks, is kind of give you a summary of what to really focus on. The chapters in the book are the same as what you've already read, so you don't really have any new readings. I think it's really just going back and kind of focusing on the macro and micro environment portions of those readings again. So we used to have a book that covered this in great detail, and it was well done, but the book that we have now, I think, is just a little more efficient, a little more user-friendly, and so that's why we use it. And it covers more exotic species, which I think is important in this day and age. So when you're looking at the macro environment parameters, we're looking at the world that the animal lives in, right? I mean, that's what we're basically looking at. And we're thinking more of the facility. So think about the room, think about the building, think about the safety, how people go in and out of rooms, how we keep dirty from getting into clean areas, things of that sort. And then I have some videos for you to watch that covers different biohazard levels. And generally speaking, when you're working in a veterinary clinic or you're working in just a conventional facility like Madison College or any other research facility that doesn't handle really scary pathogens, it's going to be just what you're used to. It's kind of like your house, right? There's no major barrier keeping things in or out. But then as you go up the biohazard safety ladder, obviously there has to be more things in place. And that includes how you get into the building, how you get out of the building, how doorways are worked, whether there's ventilation in the room, keeping things in or out. So pay attention to that. And the type of personal protective equipment. So depending on the species you work with, you're going to use different personal protective equipment. Generally speaking, in a veterinary clinic, you don't have to wear gloves when you're handling most animals, right? I mean, we don't have to worry about that crossover of pathogens, generally speaking. There's a few things we have to think about, but as you go up that biohazard safety level, whether it's the pathogens we're talking about or whether it's the species we're talking about, and the type of pathogens those species could pass on to us, or we could pass on to them, the personal protective equipment changes. So, for instance, if you're working with a mouse in lab, in class on Friday, you guys will be handling mice with gloves. We'll have you wear gloves. It's not because mice carry really dangerous diseases, though there's one in particular you should know, LCM. Just a reminder, review that. But it's because they have a high allergen count in their dander and their saliva. They have a high protein count. So we can form allergies to murines, mice and rats. And most people that work in a research facility and have worked with mice and rats for a period of time have formed allergies over time. So that's the primary reason we have you wear labs. In a vet clinic, you may never put on gloves, or wear gloves. You may never put on gloves in a vet clinic because you might not be handling them that often. But in a research facility, you do, because you handle them every single day, several times a day. So keep that in mind. But if you're working with primates, they can carry some really, really scary pathogens that will take us out. And so you have to wear a much higher grade level of PPE, personal protective equipment, face shields, gloves, double gowns. I mean, so look at the biohazard safety videos for that. And then there's a list of questions for you to hand in after watching those based on that. And then the other assignment, the only